milehighsports.com, part of the Be On Air network. And welcome to the Blitz. This is Daniel. I am here with Zach, Dylan, Theo, Brandon. So we're live? All right, now we're live. There we go. Welcome to the Blitz. This is Daniel. I am with Zach, Dylan, and Theo. And we are here today again to speak at you about all kinds of sports. Well, actually today we're all going to keep it pretty much in one little place. But it has been actually this whole week, the weather's been amazing.
Right.
Especially even today. I didn't even have to really wear a jacket until just now when the sun went down.
Especially when the wind picks up, but it's so beautiful.
Yeah, so hopefully the sun's shining down on us and we can go ahead and give you the brightness of the NFL and NCAA. So first off, we're going to go ahead and kick off with the national championship reactions. I'm sure all of us here watched the game. I know me and Dylan, we actually were here live streaming it.
So long.
That game was a marathon. We had to break it up at halftime to watch the Irishman, to try and take a game or minds off the game there. But man, it was insane to start. It was a really defensive game. And then after about halfway through the second quarter, Joe Burrow just flipped that switch. Joe Cool came in, and he just absolutely dominated Clemson.
Gosh.
So we all know about what my thoughts are. Let's go ahead and go and shoot it over to Zach. What do you got on this game?
Yeah, I would say it definitely started out like the Kansas City and Houston game. And then, yeah, as you said, someone turned on a switch, and then Joe Burrow looked like Joe Burrow. The one thing in the beginning, the punter kicked it twice inside the 5-yard line, which put LSU in a tough spot. Clemson was so aggressive. And then it was after that, I mean, Clemson looked so casual. They looked like they've been there before. They've walked these steps, while LSU, they couldn't catch the ball as much. The wide receivers kind of got a little what you want to call
Butterfingers.
Yeah, and it
Jitters.
didn't look good. But then that second quarter started rolling around, and then, they started at the 20, and then they started doing those big plays, which was surprising to me that Joe Burrow would look for the long vertical passes instead of the short ones.
It's like we haven't seen that much from him over the season. We mainly saw just those short over the line, quick slants, quick draws, maybe a few drags in there, but just seeing them air the ball out on Monday night was so fun to watch.
Yeah, and then by the second half, Clemson laid off, which was surprising. They played the 3-4 a whole lot, but they played a lot of zone, and they didn't blitz as heavy, and you gave Joe Burrow more time to look at the options, and
that defense played great all year. It was and just watching it was like we've all said, like you both said, it was such a defensive game in the beginning. It's like, this isn't the game we expected it to be the first quarter. That's what we were saying. It's like we didn't expect it to be defensive heavy. We thought it was going to be super high scoring, offense.
Yeah.
Most of the first half, defense.
Yeah, and then there was, I think, because both teams threw the ball so much, that's why the game took so long. You weren't running the ball where the clock was running. You were literally throwing the ball incomplete, 5 seconds off the clock.
We were
Another
in here,
pass.
and we're like, all right, it's, first half, maybe quick hour and a half, 2 hour half. I look down, 2.5 hours later. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
it was such a drag.
Insane. Yeah, it really was, and exactly what Zach was saying was that there was like no rushing offense from either team. Neither one could actually get the running game going, and I think that's where really things switched in the second quarter. Is Orgeron was just like, look, we're not running it at all. Let's just let Joe be Joe.
Yep.
And he went out there and he had a Brady-type performance. It's one of those where it doesn't look like he's being great because he's got those constant, quick timing passes that just take 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards. Those Wes Welker, those Julian Edelman routes, he was just eating those up because that's what Clemson was giving him. And that's the thing that I love to see from Joe was like he's had very little resistance up until that first quarter against Clemson. That was the first time he had a real reality check this year. And to see the way that he responded, and Orgeron responded by not just going conservative. They just said, all right, we're just going to sit here. We're going to dink and dunk. We're going to turn the passing game into the running game, and we're just going to matriculate the ball down the field. And that was how they dug out of that early hole and then just put the stomp on them in that second half. That defense for LSU just completely clamped down. They really put a stamp on a possibility of being one of the best college football teams to ever win it all.
No doubt about it, and especially Joe Burrow being one of the best college quarterbacks of all time, too. To having one of the greatest seasons by any college quarterback. Heisman winner, a national champion offensive player of the game, NCAA offensive player of the season of the year. Didn't he get that?
Yeah,
too?
he won like every offensive award. That
And then
you could
his
possibly
dad.
Daddy
Winning
betting on
big
his son.
time.
Yes. Man, that was insane. I mean, honestly, that would be something I would do. I would be that dad. Except for my problem is I would probably lose. So
Yo, he's going to win the
that
Heisman.
That $2,000 would have just went down the toilet. So I tend to try not to gamble because whenever I do, whatever I predict goes wrong. When I don't, it goes right. So I'm just like, you know what? I'll just be broken right.
Yeah. It was a toss up because I really felt LSU was gonna win, even though I picked Clemson. But at the first quarter, I was like, man, I might have picked right finally, you know.
That's what a lot of people were thinking, and Thaddeus Moss had a great game too.
Well, actually, the majority of people bet on 80% of the money in Vegas was on LSU. So
you probably didn't win much off of that.
No. Anybody that bet on them, I mean, if anybody that knows anything about gambling, you win money on the underdogs. You don't win money betting on the favorites. And that's what Vegas does because it's much more volatile.
Exactly.
When you're betting on the underdogs, they get more money. So
And it's like, if something crazy happens, say it's like the guy that predicted the safety on the Broncos-Seahawks Super Bowl, predicted the safety on the first play, won like $1 million or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, something crazy like that. You never
insane.
know.
But it also looked like Clemson kind of played a lot like Denver. Like they played a good script the first 15 plays, and then after that it
Just
was
went down.
Yeah, they didn't know what else to pull out. You
The
know,
Scangarello offense.
And it was actually awesome to see Orgeron be able to tear apart that Clemson defense.
Oh, yeah.
Because I forget the coordinator's name, but I know he's like regarded as the best college defensive coordinator.
Joe Brady or Brady?
So it's a Brady. Yeah.
No, Brady's the offensive
coordinator for
the
LSU.
consultant. I know who you're talking about
Yeah.
because they've been talking about it, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
He's
He's got a name like Dabo Sweeney. It's one of those weird Southern names.
Such a great defensive mind. Like
Yes.
he can just pick you apart like that.
Yeah.
It's like if he was on the field, it's like, if he was on the field, it'd be even better. He'd be calling out plays to all the guys out there on like he's able to up from the box.
Yeah.
Watching everything over.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's definitely probably got a future, at least as a head coach in the NCAA, if not moving on up to the NFL. He's definitely got a pro-style defense, which was fun to see in this game, was because this was a college game, but we had two pro-style offense and defense. We had LSU running a pro-style offense, something that we have not seen dominate college the way that it did this year. And then we've seen the Clemson defense that has been dominating for the last about 4 or 5 years underneath his tutelage. So just real quick, there's a lot of talk, like I said, about Clemson being the best ever. My problem is with the 0-1 Miami Hurricanes. That's my pick. Do y'all have a different pick?
I'd have to agree with you on the Miami Hurricanes, though, one. But the other one I would go for is the 2017 Clemson team. Even though they weren't an undefeated team, but it was just such a high-powered offense, high-powered defense.
Yeah. My thing was with the 0-1 Hurricanes, you had almost, it was like some ridiculous, like 20 cats off of that team went to the NFL. You had Jonathan Vilma. You had Frank Gore, Clinton Portis, and Najee Davenport fighting for the running back position. You had Andre Johnson out there.
Willis McGahee.
Yeah. Willis McGahee was on there as well.
Sean Taylor didn't go there, did he?
Yeah, he was right after.
He was right after that.
Freshman
Yeah, he was a freshman that year, didn't play. Then you had Jonathan Vilman, Bryant McKinley, Ed Reed, Vince Wilfork,
DJ
Williams. DJ Williams. Gosh. I mean, just stacked superstar upon superstar. It was just the deepest team I've ever seen outside of their quarterback, who was Ken Dorsey, who still got drafted, played a few years in the NFL.
Didn't he
Wasn't
win the
really
Heisman
anything.
too with them?
Yes, he did win the Heisman as well. That 0-1 season when they won the national championship.
Now that I think about it, that's got to be the team.
I mean, the team was just stacked top to bottom.
Unanimous vote?
I think we have a unanimous vote.
Yeah.
So, yes, we are all on the same page, in the same boat, headed on over to break. Y'all stick around. Next, we're jumping over to the NFL. This is The Blitz with Dan, Zach, Dylan, and Theo.
This is Ducello at third. Zach Ducello.
I would say there's two answers because there's the Elway draft and there's going to be the way that I would draft it, which I'm going to go with that. You're going to have to get the offensive line beefed up so you can get Drew Lock. And you think about it, our offensive line is pretty horrendous. There's Reisner.
Matthew Sturts.
Half the fan base wanted Troy Tulowitzki to get traded, and the other half of the fan base doesn't know anything about baseball, so they were like, no, we want Troy.
Follow them on Twitter at Welcome Rug and at Orange Mamba 22 to check out the latest podcast.
What does it take to be on air? It's not just a personality, though it does help. It takes drive, creativity, passion, and the willingness to develop yourself and truly find what makes you special. At Go Mile High, students are given this chance to become something great. You never know. Someone you're hearing right now could be the next big thing, and you could be the first to know how it all started. So keep listening, because you never know what's next on GoMileHigh.com.
Every day, across this country, hundreds of college radio stations take to the air, broadcasting music and programming that you won't hear anywhere else.
It's one of the last places where people can really be able to actually say what they want to say.
Without it, you wouldn't have a place for local artists to perform. Certain people need to have a chance, a fighting chance, and college radio is that place for it.
College radio changes the lives of those who are involved with it and can change those who listen to it too.
This is where we start out, you know? From getting all this great experience working in college radio, it makes you want to work in real radio.
College radio means finding yourself. It helped me find what I wanted to do in not only school, but in life.
So support college radio by continuing to listen to this station and supporting the students who make it happen. College radio, now, more than ever. A message brought to you by this station and the College Radio Foundation. For more information, please visit collegeradio.org.
I'm taking a trip over to Tibet, you know, see the sights, climb a hill or two. But I remember, oh man, I got one guy out here who I actually know. So I give an old ringy-dingy to the Lama. What? You know, the Dalai Lama, his laminescence, flowing robes, grace, bald, striking really. I says to the Lama, hey, you remember that round I caddied for you down in Shangri-La? Well, apparently some station out in Lakewood taped the whole thing. See, the Lama's a big hitter. Nailed 2 eagles in a row that day. Well, he says, what station could have possibly gotten all the way out to my sacred holy lands, the Shangri? I says it was none other than GoMileHigh.com, Lama. They got the best sports coverage in the state. The Lama actually tips me this time, 2-1. So he pretty much stiffed me again. But I got him hooked on GoMileHigh.com. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
That's great.
GoMileHigh.com.
And welcome back to the Blitz. This is Daniel with Zach, Dylan, Theo. There we go. All right, now I'm back.
Got my confusion.
Again, this is the Blitz with Daniel, Zach, Dylan, and Theo. This is part of the GoMileHigh.com and Be On Air Network. We are back to talk some more football. We're going to get all your football jonesing in because we know it is going to end very, very soon. So first we're going to start off with the AFC divisional round. We have the Texans doing the ultimate choke job. So we all now know that Bill O'Brien was definitely admitting that he sucks too. 24-0 lead and lose 51-31. This was the most inept coaching job I have ever seen in my life.
And he joins for the biggest chokes. He joins the Broncos, sadly, against the Vikings. The Warriors, after blowing the 3-1 lead to the Cavs. The Indians, and sadly, the Falcons. He joins that group.
Problem is that all the rest of these teams lost to all-time great teams.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Patrick Mahomes and the
Vikings.
Chiefs, but they are not an all-time great team. They had a 24-0 lead after the first quarter, first 15 minutes of dominance, and then after that did absolutely nothing.
Oh, my gosh.
Bad play call after bad play call, going for it on fourth down with
on a fake punt,
your punt
especially.
protector running it when you know that they have a guy over there that is manned on him.
Yeah, and so I was sitting on the couch watching with my mom, and she said she was so excited. They're going to lose. It's 24-0. I'm like, wait, just wait a second. It's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to brew something out for this comeback. And they scored 2 touchdowns in less than a minute 30, something like that.
It was 60. I think it was like 68 seconds where they scored the touchdown. Then very next
the fumble
on the kickoff, and then the very next play they put it in.
And it's like they had such a great game. Travis Kelce, man, that man had an amazing game.
He is a beast of a tight end.
After that drop catch on 3rd and 6 on their opening drive, going out there scoring 3 touchdowns for over 130 something yards.
Yeah, definitely. Like Kansas City was nervous, just like LSU in the beginning. The wide receivers wouldn't catch. But when you think about, an ultimate choke job, if that kick doesn't get blocked, if Tyreek Hill doesn't muff it,
yeah,
it's not looking good for Houston pretty much at all.
What if they just punt it? What if Bill O'Brien decides to punt it, pins it back? Maybe, I'm not saying it would have definitely won them the game. Maybe it wouldn't have started the comeback right away. Maybe it would have taken them a while. But
you can't give an offense like that momentum. You cannot give them any type of juice
in their own territory. I mean, in Texans territory.
Yeah, it was in their own territory.
Yeah, you can't. They did the exact thing that Denver did earlier this year when they got scared. They try to flex on them real quick. And it's like you can't panic too early because that resonates through the whole team.
Yeah.
And you could tell like right after that, it was just, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Was it the first quarter that happened, or beginning of the second?
Beginning of the second.
The beginning of the second.
Because it was the beginning of the second, and then by the end of that quarter, 28-24.
4 passing touchdowns in 1 quarter.
1 quarter.
Patrick Mahomes.
Well, my thing is, how do you not make adjustments? You got outscored 51-7, and there was no adjustments being made to stop anything. Like going into the game, you knew that the secondary of the Texans is very banged up, right? You know where you're getting. We all know what they were getting with Bradley Roby from past experience. And how do you not find a way to mask those weaknesses, maybe bring pressure more, or 51-7?
You have to do something.
You made no effort to try and change the game.
They just went out there and did what they've been doing the whole game.
It's
like, you know what? It's going to catch up maybe.
This is what Bill O'Brien does. I mean, that is one of his biggest bugaboos is the fact that he does not make in-game adjustments.
Yes.
He has his game plan, and he sticks with it. For better or worse, most of the time it's worse, but he will not adjust at all for anything or any reason. Yeah. And that's what brings me to my next thing here is the Texans keeping Bill O'Brien. This was kind of a no-brainer simply because he doesn't have a boss. He is his own boss. The only person he answers to is the owner. And he is so far in that owner's bed that I don't think he even knows what his own looks like.
It's sad to see because he does not deserve to be a head coach right now. He does not deserve to be in the position he's in. There's so many more coaches out there that deserve to be where he's at.
I mean, it's like what me and Tanner were talking about. It's kind of like that Marvin Lewis situation. Mm-hmm. You have an inept franchise that was absolutely horrible, just deplorable before he showed up. Then he shows up, all of a sudden you win some games, you go to the playoffs, you win a playoff game. It's the differentiation in fan bases. Like if a coach does what he did in Denver, he's gone. New England, he's gone. New York, he's gone. But because he's in Houston, because Marvin Lewis was in Cincinnati, that fan base is so moribund that they're just willing to take any morsel. They're like that hungry homeless guy on the corner digging through the trash can, and he found a cheesesteak. Like it's amazing. It's a cheesesteak.
Well, with that too, the Houston Texans made those playoffs before Deshaun Watson got there with terrible quarterback play, Tom Savage, and all that stuff. So you could kind of see what this. So like he got a few grace years, right? Because this is what Deshaun's 3rd year.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but you got to see the writing on the wall at some point and try and find someone. Like, granted, their offensive line isn't great. They have no real threat in the run game, and their defense is so. You got to figure something out to get there. And like you said, without a GM, you're going to let Bill O'Brien just kind of run this into the ground. They can be a potential AFC contender. They should be a potential AFC championship contender with how their offense is built, but he's just kind of being stagnant.
Yeah, and that defense isn't a joke either. I mean, you got a lot of playmaker. Even with losing Jadeveon Clowney, they still had one of the, I believe they were in the top 12 of the league in pass rushing. So, I mean, they have the legit pieces to be a contender, but, I mean, at one point are you going to realize that it's not the talent on the field, it's the talent on the sidelines that is holding you back. You have as Dabo Swinney said, you have Michael Jordan at quarterback. The kid is special. You got to be able to call the game to allow him to do the things that he can do. And I don't think Bill O'Brien is completely open to everything that Deshaun can do. He loves what he can do in the pocket, but I think he hates what he does outside of the pocket.
Yeah. So he wants to confine him.
But is there another head coach or coordinator that could take over for Bill O'Brien if there was a GM that he had to respond to, Because Bill O'Brien is, he's not the greatest coordinator out there, but is there someone that could take the reins from him? Is there a better candidate, though, that could go to Houston?
Why is his name drawing blank?
Really, at this point, the only coach that would really be an upgrade would be like an Eric Bieniemy.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only one that I could really think of because you can't go from O'Brien to McDaniels. There's no
that's
way.
What I was gonna say.
Their fan base would revolt.
Would kill him.
Yeah, I mean, you just really can't make that move. But with all this being said, we talked about the ineptitude of the Texans. How about we talk about the greatness of the Chiefs? And do you believe that they are now the favorites to win it all?
Yeah, they could be up there, but you never know. It's playoff football time. That's when everything's fall. But yes,
their defense gives me worries. And that first quarter against the Texans, when you play a team that's complete, like a Green Bay Packers who has a really good defense that loves to take the ball away, and Aaron Rodgers and his greatness, or you run into that buzzsaw of a defense of San Francisco, I don't know if that, even with all their weapons, I don't know that they can really destroy San Francisco. It would be, honestly, a really great game. So I don't think I can really give them the title of the number one team, but they are definitely the favorites in the AFC.
Do we want to talk about the upcoming conference game then?
We will get there. Okay. But first, we're going to go ahead and jump over to the other AFC divisional game with Baltimore and the Titans. This game was just insane to me. Like, I did not think that anybody would be able to keep Lamar Jackson at the end zone. They obviously could not keep him away from running wild in between the 20s, but the Titans did exactly what they had to do, and they kept them out of the end zone, holding them to their season low point total of 12 and just really manhandling that offense.
It was Henry, man.
Yeah, Mark Ingram had nothing. That run game was destroyed.
Yeah, they did something that no other team yet this year has done, which is lead the Ravens for this long, and
they're not used to playing from behind. Not used to be playing from behind.
Yeah, and then and I don't think that Harbaugh or Greg Roman knew how to respond because they were in the pistol still. But as you said, Mark Ingram was not a factor. I think his calf was still, bothering him. He was on the sidelines trying to massage it out. But as soon as they were up by 14, it was panic mode. And then it's like you have to put your 2-minute offense out, and that still didn't work.
Yeah.
And honestly, I have to blame Lamar Jackson. I think he held the ball a little bit too often. You have to give it to the players that need to be making plays, and that ultimately costs.
What are those players, though? That's my problem with everybody jumping on Lamar Jackson and talking about how horrible of a game he has. What weapons does he have?
I mean, you had Mark Andrews, you had Snead. Was it Josh
Snead
Brown?
is a weapon?
I think in a sense, yeah.
Dude's got a little bit of speed, but when you're talking about the top 30 wide receivers, does Snead go on that list?
No.
Top 30?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you said the one real weapon he has is Andrews, but he is a tight end. Yeah. When you're playing with a lead, it's great to have a tight end that's going to take those little 10, 15-yard routes every time, and your running back's going to get you 4 to 5 yards. But when you're playing with a deficit, you need big-time fast weapons. The fastest player he has is John. Is it John Brown?
No, he's not there.
No,
John Brown's in it. But Marquise Brown still.
There we go.
He still had himself a game. He had 100. I have it up.
He had that amazing one-handed catch while being double covered.
Yeah, but he was a rookie.
He had 7 catches for 126 yards. Granted, he didn't get in the end zone, but
yes,
that's what they wanted him for, to spread the field. They, I don't know. It's just they just couldn't punch it in. I don't think there was anything to.
They have no big body receiver.
This is the one.
Nothing to punch it in, and that's the only deficit because Lamar did 350 yards, 153 rushing yards. Like, he did his part. Yes, he turned it over 3 times, but he got them in that position, and the Titans is playing the type of football that wins championships. You play hard-nosed defense and you run the ball.
And that's the one thing that's just been kind of annoying me after this game is what did the Ravens do wrong? What did the Ravens need to do this? Nobody's talking about the Titans. Like I'm not hearing much about the Titans, but the Titans are the reason why the Titans
because they win boring.
Yeah, but
they just win boring.
But it's
Nobody
the way
cares.
of winning, and it's such an amazing story how they were one of the worst teams in the league coming into a wild card spot, knock off the Patriots, knock off the Ravens, and have the possibility to knock off the Chiefs. And like Derrick Henry, man, that man is playing out of his mind. King Henry broke TD's record for playoff rushing yards.
For most rushing yards in their first four postseason
games. And crushed it.
Yeah, he beat it by like almost 100 yards.
Yeah,
He has almost 600 yards in his first 4 playoff games. That's insane. He's the first running back in NFL history, period, whole 100 years, to have 3 straight games of 180 yards or more. Because I mean, that's just what that's what they have. That's the only offense that they have. I mean, you do have A.J. Brown, which I do love the kid. I think he's going to be special in this league. But you have Ryan Tannehill throwing for 80 or less yards. And again, that's the first time it's ever happened to back-to-back playoff games won by a team that the quarterback throws for less than 100 yards in back-to-back games. But again, to go back on Jackson real quick, I've been completely irritated with the hate that this poor guy has had.
Yeah.
This is his second year in the league, people. Let it go. You cannot say that he is a choke artist when it is his second year, his second playoff game. Nobody was talking about Romo being a choker until he got about 10 years into the league.
Yeah.
So let's just back it off. Let's leave the guy alone. He had 500 yards together.
And also granted on what his playoff performance was like last year, where he actually got booed off the field because of how poor it was, which was the complete opposite, which was almost like this Ryan Tannehill. I don't have the stats up of exactly what he was, but
it was very similar.
It was very similar where he barely broke 100 yards if he did, not much rushing. So you want to see this jump. Unfortunately for the Ravens, they didn't get it, but they're in a good position still to continue the success next season by picking up a guy or two here.
And I want to go.
And that's my point, is that Lamar Jackson cannot do it by himself. The man had, again, 500 total yards by himself.
Yeah.
He had more yards by himself than the Titans did as a team, by over 100.
Yeah. I was going to go back to one more thing on Derrick Henry. Man, the strength on that man, how big he is, pushing Earl Thomas in front of him to make him a lead blocker against his own team.
That was insane.
And not to forget what Tyrann Mathieu said this week, that the last time he tried to tackle Derrick Henry, he broke his jaw. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Last time he tried to tackle Derrick Henry, he broke his jaw.
Insane power. That's Earl Campbell-like stuff.
And that's the Badger talking. And that's the man that hits hard and is going to stop you no matter what. To say that about a running back.
Honey Badger don't care.
Yeah. But it's going to – I'm excited to watch this game this weekend. I know they're going to try and stop the run with Derrick Henry, the Chiefs defense is. That's what I think. This is what I think they're going to do. They're going to plan against them to stop the run. So they're going to have Tannehill throw the ball more. But more throws.
It's not that simple when you go against the number 1 and then like the number 3 or 4 in the defense. So when you go against a much improved Chiefs defense, that's not going to be enough.
Yeah.
But to the credit of how much the Ravens' running game depended on Mark Ingram and how you shut that down, and you're a number 1 seed, so with like the weapons, I just feel like they should have had a bigger game plan going into this week, having that bye week. It was just surprising, but no, props on Tennessee for shutting it down and surprising another team on the road.
Just mauled them.
Yeah.
And Coach Vrabel, is that how you say it?
Vrabel.
Coach Vrabel.
Vrabel. There you go.
Just being the hype man, knowing what he's doing, getting his players ready for the game. He knows what to say. And hearing his speech after the game was so fun to listen to. I wish we had audio.
Taylor Lewan going into the locker room. That piece is coming off, Coach. That piece is coming off. And I mean,
that shows you that
history says they have a chance. The last 2 6 seeds to make it to the championship game, they won it all.
And it's going to be, we're coming up on the 20th anniversary since the last time they were in an AFC championship game, the Titans, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Against the Jags, who the Titans are going to lose to the greatest show on turf.
Yeah, that was a fun year. That was the last time I had a Super Bowl pick wrong. I picked the Titans that year. Since then, I've been perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was the one.
So you mean
and
to
I was
tell
wrong
me-
by a yard.
You mean to tell me you've been picking the Patriots?
Yes.
Doors right there.
Unfortunately, but hey, man, I've told you 100 times. I keep
Yeah.
it real. I don't care who it is.
Just so you know, doors right there. You feel free.
I can throw you through it. That's cool.
Hey, come on.
but okay, so now that we're starting to get on the championship game, let's go ahead and just grab our picks here. So it's obviously going to be KC and Tennessee. I love the story of Tennessee. I love the way that they've been playing. I love old school football. I love Henry, but that 50 burger opened my eyes to a new level of offense I had never seen before.
And running out of fireworks.
I mean, people talk about the greatest show on turf. People want to talk about all the other great Air Coryell. Name them all. This Chiefs offense is insane. They have weapons literally everywhere. It does not matter where they are on the field. So I do believe that is going to carry them to the Super Bowl. So my pick is the Chiefs.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Tennessee only because I think they're gonna stick with their game plan of running the ball. They're gonna trust Henry. They're gonna drain the clock, and I don't think they're gonna panic like Houston would, where they're like, oh, now we're down, now we gotta toss it up and we're gonna make stupid calls. I think they're gonna be conservative. They're gonna trust their team. Trust Tannehill's gonna lead the way. I'm gonna say it's gonna be 20. I think I said it was a 28-21 Tennessee, but no, it's gonna be really difficult because this is a different high-powered offense that they haven't. They did play each other earlier this season. It was a close game. So I think both have a chip on their shoulder, but I do see hopefully Tennessee will prevail.
Staying strong with Derrick Henry in the run game, that offense and defense playing the way if they keep playing the way they've been playing, I'm gonna have to go Tennessee. And like I said on press box earlier, it's a bold prediction, 21-14, because how they played against each other early on in the season. I think that's going to come back, and it's just going to be they're just going to throw blows at each other on defense.
That's where I think the real reason that Tennessee loses. That's why, because Andy Reid has seen this, he knows what to expect, and their defense can. Schwartz is their defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah,
I believe so. I just had
Kansas
it up.
City's?
Yeah.
No, Spagnuolo.
No, Spagnuolo. That's right. So I think he's going to make the adjustments necessary to combat Derrick Henry. Just the way that they're going to play a game very similar to what they did to the Broncos. They're going to stack the box. They're going to blitz every single play. They're going to beat Tannehill in the face. They're going to hit Henry every chance they get. Honey Badger don't care. He's going to come flying everywhere, every which angle.
You don't care if he break his jaw.
And he don't care. He'll just go get it wired up and play the Super Bowl. So that's where the whole coin's going to turn, is because of that experience of them playing. I think that's what's really caught Baltimore and New England off guard, was they weren't ready.
Yeah,
right.
They weren't prepared.
See,
it's going to be a dogfight.
I'm with Dan as far as the prediction, and it pains me to say that because there's so many more pros on why the Titans should win, right? The story, the Broncos pretty much changed their season. Remember the Titans 2 coming out. Right?
Yes.
There's so many reasons why, but what it comes down to is I was worried that because of the way that Tennessee won in New England, right, with a team that didn't have a quick strike offense like Baltimore does, but Kansas City has Travis Kelce, so they don't get stagnant in the red zone like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mahomes he still can make a play, whereas if you're in the red zone like that, you're more focused on Lamar Jackson because of how small and fast the receivers are. And I just don't see, with the quick strike offense, I don't see Tennessee being able to put up enough points because, as we saw against the Texans, Kansas City can just flip on the switch like that. So I don't see this one being close, 35-10, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to think, And Damian Williams is going to have a monster game.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Kelce.
It's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, those two.
It's going to be a dogfight no matter what. These two teams, both these teams, I mean, they both play in Super Bowls. Chiefs obviously winning one, Tennessee not winning one. Be such a cool story, but for both of them trying to get back to the Super Bowl in so long, I'm excited. Whoever goes, it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, honestly, I'll kind of hedge my bets here a little bit. I don't see either team winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who comes out of it. It's going to be an NFC team.
NFC is going to dominate.
Yeah.
I also think it might be a matter of time before Andy Reid might, kind of just pull a Bill O'Brien. He's done it a couple times in the last few years where he wants to make charge and he might make the wrong call. I mean, he lost to Mariota a couple years ago.
And
that game was so fun. That was
and he
awesome.
always does it in the big game. He always whenever Andy Reid has a bad day, it's in the biggest game of his life.
He did
the
it
Super
last
Bowl
year.
with the Eagles, the 4 other championship games with the Eagles. So yes, he does definitely have a bugaboo. I know he wants this so bad because of his history, because of this team's history. He's like, I'm going to rewrite the script, but sorry, Andy Reid. Go back to your favorite donut shop, get your coffee.
Go eat your 40-ounce steak.
Yeah. Enjoy it while you can, because once the Super Bowl gets here, you will get your reality check. And who knows? Maybe it'll make you change something in the offseason, maybe drop it to you.
Hey, all I'm saying is if Andy Reid gets a Super Bowl, good for him, because I kind of believe he deserves it after what's happened to him.
Sorry, as soon as he went over to the Chiefs, I don't care.
Yeah.
He can burn. I don't care. You put on that red, and you are dead to
Andy.
me.
You remember
I think
those
it's
chants?
honestly Eric Bieniemy trying to show off because he wants all those teams to regret passing on him.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been calling the plays this postseason, if you go back and you look at it. So it's definitely – so, again, I'm going Chiefs. Dylan and Zach are going Titans.
Hey, I've been
Theo's
riding
with
AFC.
me on the Chiefs. So as much as it pains me and it hurts my heart to say it, I think me and Theo are right. This is the Blitz on GoMileHigh.com, part of the Beyond Air Network.
I'm undefeated in AFC picks so far. That's all I'm saying. I am. I'm undefeated.
What does it take to be on air? It's not just a personality, though it does help. It takes drive, creativity, passion, and the willingness to develop yourself and truly find what makes you special. At Go Mile High, students are given this chance to become something great. You never know. Someone you're hearing right now could be the next big thing, and you could be the first to know how it all started. So keep listening, because you never know what's next on GoMileHigh.com.
Every day, across this country, hundreds of college radio stations take to the air, broadcasting music and programming that you won't hear anywhere else.
It's one of the last places where people can really be able to actually say what they want to say.
Without it, you wouldn't have a place for local artists to perform. Certain people need to have a chance, a fighting chance, and college radio is that place for it.
College radio changes the lives of those who are involved with it and can change those who listen to it too.
This is where we start out, from getting all this great experience working in college radio. It makes you want to work in real radio.
College radio means finding yourself. It helped me find what I wanted to do in not only school, but in life.
So support college radio by continuing to listen to this station and supporting the students who make it happen. College radio, now, more than ever. A message brought to you by this station and the College Radio Foundation. For more information, please visit collegeradio.org.
This is Ducello at Sturts. Zach Ducello.
I would say there's two answers, because there's the Elway draft and there's going to be the way that I would draft it, which I'm going to go with that. You're going to have to get the offensive line beefed up so you can get Drew Lock. You need to think about it. Our offensive line is pretty horrendous. There's Reisner.
Matthew Sturts.
Half the fan base wanted Troy Tulowitzki to get traded, and the other half of the fan base doesn't know anything about baseball, so they were like, no, we want Troy.
Follow them on Twitter at Welcome Rug and at Orange Mamba 22 to check out the latest podcast.
So I'm taking a trip over to Tibet, see the sights, climb a hill or two. But I remember, oh man, I got one guy out here who I actually know. So I give an old ringy-dingy to the Lama.
What?
The Dalai Lama, his laminescence, flowing robes, grace, bald, striking really. I says to the Lama, hey, you remember that round I caddied for you down in Shangri-La? Well, apparently some station out in Lakewood taped the whole thing. See, the Lama's a big hitter. Nailed 2 eagles in a row that day. Well, he says, What station could have possibly gotten all the way out to my sacred holy lands, the Shangri? I says it was none other than GoMileHigh.com, Llama. They got the best sports coverage in the state. The Llama actually tips me this time, 2-1. So he pretty much stiffed me again, but I got him hooked on GoMileHigh.com, so I got that going for me, which is nice.
That's great.
GoMileHigh.com.
Welcome back to the Blitz. This is Daniel with Zach, Dylan, and Theo on GoMileHigh.com. I'm part of the Be On Air network. You can follow us on Go Mile High on Facebook, or again, GoMileHigh.com.
Someone's breaking the door outside.
Yeah. Or you can add us at Go Mile High on Twitter. So now we got all those little plugs out of the way. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the NFC divisional round.
NFC, man.
These games had a little bit more intrigue, especially when you discount the Texans and the Kansas City, and no intrigue there after the second quarter. But we're going to go ahead and start off with Green Bay beating the Seattle Seahawks 28-23. This was a great game. It didn't start out so great, but it ended as an almost all-time classic.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we got to give credit to Green Bay. They beat Seattle hands down, and we can't rely on that last push by Graham as the deciding factor. But, I mean, Rodgers played incredible. Devontae Adams playing double coverage and getting open on multiple third downs. I mean, Seattle's running game is hurt. They have 3 running backs down.
Take care of y'all chickens, man.
Yeah.
That was the greatest exit interview ever, but I digress. Let's keep it on the game here.
But the Russell Wilson, man, he turned on something in that second
out of
half,
nowhere.
And it was almost inspiring. I was like, is he really going to do this? Is he really going to come back?
You're going to remember the Titans this.
Yeah, it was an incredible effort not to move on in the playoffs, but honestly, Green Bay won that game, at the end of the day.
With the controversy going over the first down, never trust the yellow line. That's what I want to say. Never trust the yellow line. The yellow line was 1 yard in front of where the actual first down marker on the field was.
Yeah, it's like I said on Monday. Newsflash, people, they can't see that on the field.
Yeah.
Now, fancy lights and lines that you see on your TV, guess what? It doesn't show up on the field. Yeah. It's superimposed. They use the giant green field like a giant green screen. Think of it that way, guys.
And it's like it's just been making me so mad that all these Seattle fans, like, I wanted Seattle to win the game. Like, they were my pick, but Seattle fans, you got to calm down, and you literally have to look at the facts. Look at the facts. But like you said, Russell Wilson, unbelievable. Out of nowhere, dude. Like, I don't know what happened.
Well, it's dangerous. It's not out of nowhere. This is what he does.
Somebody must have texted him. Somebody must have texted him at halftime that they've got money on the game, so he's probably got to try and come back.
He just went in the phone booth and threw the cape on, man.
Yeah. Sierra texted him.
Right. Yeah. Boy, if you want to come home tonight,
you want to sleep.
See me do some fancy things.
If you want to sleep in the bed.
But, I mean, him and Tyler Lockett were on the same page throughout the game. Tyler Lockett was amazing. He was – because, I mean, Metcalf had a couple drops. Their tight ends was a Hollister.
Yeah.
He played pretty good. He's not the guy in Seattle. No. He's not going to be the X factor.
No, it's Will Dissly. He's on IR.
Yeah. And then Seattle's defense, they couldn't even stop Aaron Jones. I mean, there were a couple of plays that Packers were playing for the penalty, which is I'm not the biggest fan when you're playing for pass interference or when he's not looking at the ball. So it was an impressive effort. I think I told you guys last week that I was not sold on Green Bay. I thought that they just didn't surprise me or
Now you kind of got to be sold on.
No, same here. I picked Seattle.
Yeah.
I had Seattle winning this game simply because. No.
I swear you picked Green Bay.
No, I picked Seattle. I had Seattle going to the Super Bowl up until this game, obviously.
Obviously.
but I mean, I think it really had more to do with Devontae Adams just balling out of his mind and Jimmy Graham turning the clock back about 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, just those third down plays and Aaron Rodgers just doing Aaron Rodgers things, which is just greatness on third down, the efficiency, the accuracy. I mean, he just showed everybody why he is the greatest of all time.
You know why Seattle didn't win that game? They're not sponsored by State Farm. Russell Wilson's not sponsored by State Farm.
He's stuck on this.
It's going to be a State Farm Super Bowl, dude. It's rigged. Because if the Chiefs and the Packers get in there, it's the State Farm Bowl.
Yeah, and not to get sidetracked, but watching at the halftime, Jimmy Johnson getting into the Hall of Fame and Cowher
almost die.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest thing. Like, was he hyperventilating? Was he have a heart attack, a stroke? Like, I don't even know what was going on in that
He
moment.
might have took his little Viagra pills, and they're like, oh, no. I'm too excited.
I'm way too excited.
It's past 2 hours.
He's got the Cialis 24 hours.
24 hours.
Okay, we probably need to stay away from that subject before we go a little bit too far down that hole.
FCC.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I agree. Devontae Adams doing his thing. Jimmy Graham doing his thing. Aaron Jones just doing what he's been doing all year.
And to do that with a rookie head coach.
Awesome. So, I digress. Like we said, Seahawks did everything they could. Just couldn't quite get that last drive that Russell Wilson always needs just to win the game.
So always comes up so short.
Yeah. It depends on how you look at it. The man is special. But I digress. Let's go ahead and move on over to San Fran just throttling the Vikings.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, boy. Stop whining. Now, we're going to talk about this. What?
Sucks to suck, Dylan. You got it.
Say, because
all those SCOs last week come to an end.
Yeah. Hey, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
You picked Skull.
Loses.
Hey, I wasn't the only one that picked
Want to talk about me being a Kirk Cousins hater? What did I say? What did I say sitting right here with all of y'all? Kirk Cousins was going to go back to his mean. He was going to regress back to the mean, and that is exactly what he did, and he showed us exactly who he is. He is, I am good in the regular season. I might get you to the postseason, but you get me in any big game with any primetime slot, I suck. And that's what he did.
All I'm saying is I'm not the only one that picked the Vikings here, Zach.
I wasn't scoing.
Yeah. Hey, I was just doing
he
that
wasn't
to make
insufferable.
Saints, hey, it was just to make Saints fans mad because it was funny. Did your wife listen to that show?
Yeah, she listened to that show. I heard all about that when I got home. You know, you're going to tell your boy Dylan that I don't like him.
But you got to think of Minnesota's offensive line was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So
it's been terrible for years.
So given that Kirk Cousins can't play in the big game, I thought he did decent despite what his offensive line was giving him. And Dalvin Cook only got 18 yards.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs had that nice touchdown catch in the first quarter, but that was it.
That's not Minnesota football when your running back is below 20 yards.
But the front seven for San Francisco is
I mean, that's
so
exactly what I said would happen. That they would just bottle up Dalvin Cook, because that's what Cousins has been riding this entire year, is that running game, and then it opening up the passing game for him where he gets the one-on-ones outside with Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. This game, they just bludgeoned Dalvin Cook with their front four. I don't think they ever blitzed this entire game. I can't remember one time a linebacker or a safety or a cornerback coming in on a blitz. They just let Nick Bosa just eat lunch all day.
Armstead just having his way. And
undisputed rookie defensive player of the year, Nick Bosa.
Yeah, so it's scary how young that San Francisco's team is, and that they can just manhandle almost about anybody.
Right.
And so, I mean, and Minnesota's defense, where were they against Garoppolo? You know what I mean?
That's what I want to know, too.
You let him have his way.
But that secondary hasn't been the greatest all year. They're riddled with injuries. But the front seven, those safety, everything up there, up on the line, should have just didn't show up. They didn't show up to play.
Yeah, because if you can hold Kamara to a certain amount of yards, and you can have Breeze not look like Drew Brees.
Yeah.
How come you can't do that against Garoppolo?
Jimmy G, he's a good quarterback. I do like Jimmy G, but he's not up there like Breeze level.
No, he's not elite.
No, he's
not
good,
elite. Not great.
And we made him look
like an Andy Dalton.
And we kind of made him look elite that game. He was kind of looked elite during that game. Made him look like he's one of the best quarterbacks ever.
Yeah. Like an Andy Dalton. He has those games where he throws for 300-400 yards. He looks like a legit franchise quarterback.
Gets
running
the Bills
around
in
the
playoffs.
Wrong person.
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton. Yeah, he's Bengal.
Yeah, he's one that got the Bills to the playoffs a few years ago. Do you not remember that?
The Bills to the playoffs?
Yeah, it was 20. It was.
He's never played for anybody other than Cincinnati.
Yes, I know, but he was the reason the Bills made the playoffs because they beat the Ravens. It was,
Oh, I get what you're saying. I thought you were talking about like a beat. I'm like, I was
No.
so confused there for a second. I'm like, wait, no. Andy Dalton's never played anywhere
the
else.
savior of the Bills.
The
2
Red
years
Rifle.
Ago.
Yeah, he.
Red Rifle.
That was his nickname.
Yep.
So yeah, seeing Samuels and Sanders. I mean, Kittle's gonna do what he does regardless.
Oh, yeah.
He's a freak.
Yes.
Can't stop that man.
But to
Carrying
have
2 defenders on his back.
But Minnesota's defense is a great defense with Mike Zimmer coaching it. So I don't know if I should blame Zimmer or if I should blame defensive line.
They just didn't leave the locker room.
They use the weaknesses that they have in that defense. Xavier Rhodes is not elite.
Not anymore.
No, he hasn't been elite for about 2 years
He's not
now.
what he used to be.
He got that big contract, and he showed the fear of every front office giving a player a big contract. Once they get that big contract, they get lazy. They don't do the stuff in the offseason to stay great, and he's just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, and then, I mean, the offensive coordinator who didn't really have a great game plan, and he gets hired by the Browns.
Such a Browns move.
But now this is exactly what Kubiak wants. I don't say what he needs, but he has his quarterback. He has his system down.
Now he's going to find himself an offensive coordinator.
But now it's up to Kirk Cousins. Can he produce finally? Can he have,
the man that robbed the Vikings of $80 million.
I won't say. I mean, he's robbing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't think it's past tense yet.
In the process.
Yeah. I don't think it's a complete heist. Like, he's giving him about a 50% return, so I guess there's something there.
Yeah, right.
Giving him a little bit of something. But here real quick with the NFC, we're going to go ahead and make our picks for the championship game. So who do you got there, Zach?
After what we just talked about, I'm gonna go with Green Bay. Because if they have the same refs coaching that game, I think it's hard to beat Green Bay and the refs.
You mean the refs calling the plays?
Yeah. So, yeah, Green Bay.
So what you got there, Dylan? Oh, sorry.
I was going to say Green Bay 21-20.
That's a good.
I'm going to go San Fran. I'm going to go Niners. Just because the way they've been playing all season, they're nonstop. They haven't slowed down. I'm going to go San Francisco 35-28.
Yeah, I see. I'm going to have to go with Green Bay. I just think that Aaron Rodgers wants this. He wants that second ring.
So he can just
He
leave.
wants to be. He's like, there's no way that Eli Manning is going to have more rings than me, and he's just going to ball out again with Devontae Adams. It doesn't matter that Devontae is his really only weapon. Him and Aaron Jones are just going to run roughshod over that San Francisco defense. I don't think they're ready. They're not going to be able to get pressure with just 4. So I think Aaron Rodgers just is able to eke it out. I don't think it's going to be quite as close as you, but I'm not far off. I think 23-20 is going to be what the final score is.
And I'll go into it. I was going to go the Niners, and then Dylan had to take it, and I feel like that we're going to give each other bad luck, but I'm still going with the Niners. I had to give you a hard time, man.
We're splitting the tables again.
We always split. We did this last week.
Yeah,
we split every time last week.
I think the Niners just because that front seven's just
Unstoppable.
so deadly, and Richard Sherman, he lives for these matchups with Devontae Adams, so I got them going 21-20.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
So flipping it over here on Zach.
Zach's like,
I got you.
Come on, man.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna split it again. We got me and Zach here picking the Green Bay Packers, and got Theo and Dylan there with the San Francisco 49ers. And hang with us to go ahead and finish off with our last segment here. We're going to jump into this coaching carousel. And this is the Blitz with Daniel, Zach, Dylan, and Theo on GoMileHigh.com, a part of the Be On Air Network.
What does it take to be on air? It's not just the personality, though it does help. It takes drive, creativity, passion, and the willingness to develop yourself and truly find what makes you special. At Go Mile High, students are given this chance to become something great. You never know. Someone you're hearing right now could be the next big thing, and you could be the first to know how it all started. So keep listening, because you never know what's next on GoMileHigh.com.
This is Ducello at third. Zach Ducello.
I would say there's 2 answers because there's the Elway draft and there's going to be the way that I would draft it, which I'm going to go with that. You're going to have to get the offensive line beefed up so you can get Drew Lock. And you think about it, our offensive line is pretty horrendous. There's Reisner.
Matthew Sturts.
Half the fan base wanted Troy Tulowitzki to get traded, and the other half of the fan base doesn't know anything about baseball, so they were like, no, we want Troy.
Follow them on Twitter at Welcome Rug and at Orange Mamba 22 to check out the latest podcast.
And welcome back to the Blitz after that quick little break. This is Daniel with Zach, Dylan, and Theo again here for the last segment. We're going to go ahead and jump into all this coaching carousel craziness. We're going to go ahead and start off here locally with the Broncos shocking the NFL world. This late in the game, firing Rich Scangarello
Hallelujah.
and hiring Giants ex-head coach Pat Shurmur to be the new offensive coordinator. Me, personally, I love this. I have ragged Scango all year. He is wonderful within the scripts, but once the script runs out, he has no idea how to call a game, how to manage game flow, or even just manage the clock. Every one of the actual quote-unquote big decisions that were made, the aggressive decisions that were all made by Fangio. The head coach, who was a longtime defensive coordinator, is the one that has to have the huevos to chuck the ball down the field. That's a problem, and I think that's the main reason why Fangio went the way of Shurmur, because Shurmur does love to take those shots.
And especially now it's like people saying, look what he did with the Giants. He had to take care of a whole team. He had to focus on a whole side, like special teams, offense, defense, all this stuff. Now he just gets to focus on his offense.
Yeah, well, he's a two-time failure as a head coach.
Yeah.
Browns as well.
Yeah, but also...
right.
But it's like now he just gets focused on this offense. Now he has more time to develop. He's going to get more time to work with Cortland Sutton, Drew Lock, all these guys, Philip Lindsay. And did you hear the news about Cortland?
Yeah, he's going to the Pro Bowl.
Going to the Pro Bowl. Congrats to him.
As an alternate.
Well deserved. Should have been a first pick.
I knew it was. Yeah, he should have been just voted in. But again, it's the whole fan vote thing. We've been through that. We're not going to go down that wormhole. But yes, he much deserved.
Yeah, and then it's just now I'm excited for this offense now. Like Pat Shurmur, okay, yeah, great coordinator. I feel like he was a pretty decent, not great actually, it's an overstatement. Good, decent coordinator for the past teams he's been offensive coordinator for.
I mean, go ahead.
I was just saying, I like the way that Denver's going this route, because the majority of the teams in the last year or two have gone super young, thinking it's innovative, but it's really not. It's the Shanahan tree that's just kind of dwindled its way, where Denver's taken the veteran route, more experienced route. So it's, as you said, Scangarello, I liked him at first. It was interesting. He's from San Fran, but he's not aggressive enough, and he's not doing at the end of the game where you're like, what are you calling? Why are you running it on this? Why are you not taking the chance? Yeah. And I think that's what Shurmur's going to bring is that more intensity. Aggressive. Yeah,
100%. It's going to be those big shots down the field. And that's one thing that I was kind of excited to see what Scangarello might do because of being from Kyle Shanahan, is that Shanahan is extremely aggressive. He is going to go for it on fourth down. He's going to take those deep shots. He's going to run the ball down your throat until you creep up. In that moment, he's going to take you and he's going to slice your throat open.
And then he's just so conservative. Then he's just...
Yeah, with the hiring of Rich Scangarello, I think we all shook our heads at the beginning of the year because it was just he was the quarterback's coach.
Yes, he was the quarterback's coach,
and so we experienced that there's going to be some growing pains, but he never got better. The play calling stayed the same. Nothing got better as the season goes, and on top of it, for Pat Shurmur to still get paid by the Giants, it's almost like they're getting a free offensive coordinator, and paying Scangarello whatever they have to. So it is a win. Everyone wants to look at that Minnesota Vikings team with Case Keenum for Pat Shurmur's greatness. And if you can get even anything like a fraction of that, then the Broncos will be set. They still won't be able to compete with the Chiefs, but they could still make that wild card and maybe have depending on what other pieces they put on in this offseason, Titans-esque run.
Yeah, most definitely. Stack up that defense a little bit more, most definitely.
Yeah, so on the Broncos Instagram page, they have a little stat for him. 20 years of experience, has coached 6 different 3,000-yard passers, 4 1,000-yard receivers, and 3 1,000-yard rushers.
And that's kind of what we need at this point.
Exactly.
I mean, we need somebody that's going to do this. The name of the game in today's NFL is spacing. That was the one major faux pas with Rich Scangarello's offense. He did not use the field. There was too many times that his route concepts had 3 receivers in the same part of the field. What happens when you have 3 receivers in the same part of the field? You got at least 4 defenders. So then you wonder why Joe Flacco's not taking that deep shot. Well, that's because there's 5 defenders sitting there with 4 receivers in the same part of the field. So we got the one back that's outlet over here, so he dumps it off to him.
Yeah, maybe we should have listened to Flacco early on in the season when he says not being aggressive enough. Maybe he was telling a little bit.
He was definitely there. Yeah, you just don't do it in that setting. That was the only problem. Nobody was mad because he was lying. Everybody knew he was telling the truth. It was just you don't do that in that setting.
You don't throw anybody on the staff under the bus.
You don't throw your boss under the bus. That's his literal direct boss.
Flacco had the potential to be great here in Denver, but now it's Scangarello. Say we had Pat Shurmur this year. How do you think Flacco does?
The same. Flacco just sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I did not have any faith in Flacco whatsoever. I was just like, why did you waste those draft picks? We could have done so much more with those draft picks than what Joe Flacco did for us.
It's not even the draft picks we gave up for Joe Flacco I'm mad about. It's the restructuring of his contract to
that
give
too.
him guaranteed money. So now that by cutting him, you are taking a cap hit instead of being completely free of it.
Yeah, it should have been. And that's honestly the first contractual issue I've had with Elway. That is the one thing that nobody can really jump on Elway about. He is absolutely an animal in the negotiating room, and he gets the best deal for the Broncos. It is never the best deal for the player. It is the best deal for the Broncos.
And that's just the great thing about him. But just some of those draft picks that we've been getting, though, that's the stuff I disagree with him.
I actually put this up on Twitter. I found a nice little thread that showed that we have the most rookies on the PFWA all-rookie team over the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Yes, before Kubiak, you can jump on his drafting. But I don't know what Kubiak did, but there was something within that bromance that just ignited something in a way. And the dude has just went nuts in the draft
They
ever
have the
since.
mutual trust. But now without Kubiak this year, how do you think he goes in the draft?
Well, he didn't have Kubiak last year.
Oh, yeah, he didn't have him last year.
Yeah, I mean, you just once you have the framework in place, you just work off of that framework. He has it now. He just got to continue doing what he's doing.
I mean, Fangio has figured out what he needs and what players he likes from his defense this whole year. So
he's gonna find something to replace some of these things he didn't like.
Yeah, like Alexander Johnson. That guy, an animal, right? And then you got to look at the cornerbacks because our cornerbacks, or Broncos cornerbacks, has not been that good since 2015. Since the league.
Well,
left.
16 they were actually still good. They were actually historically better than the 2015 team when it comes to the secondary.
Yeah.
So 16 was the last year, and then 17 is when they really dropped off, and then 18 they just completely fell off the cliff, hit every rock on the way down, and went straight down the river.
Do you guys remember? It's like this is the part after his injury. We kind of forgot about him. Bosby. You guys remember how much of a
Devontae Bosby, I think, is going to be legit. I love the way that kid played.
He hit hard. He knew what he was doing, and then just
stupid
injured.
fast.
Stupid fast.
Kid's legit 4.3.
Literally, we forgot about him after his injury, and that was just so.
That's
sad.
what happens when you go on IR. But trust me, we will hear a lot of Bosby from now until August.
This kid's going to be.
That kid is going to be something. I think he's going to be something. I think we found a diamond in the rough there.
Yep.
Because he can play both zone and man, he can keep up with anybody on the field. And I think that he is really what we needed a cornerback, especially with the Tyreek Hills, the McCole Hardmans, and all those that are in the division.
What about DeMarcus Walker, the undrafted player we just picked up?
He played pretty good.
DeMarcus Walker?
He was not undrafted.
Yeah. Not undrafted.
He was a second-round pick.
Second-round pick, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He came on late in the year.
I'm just forgetting his name.
No, but
I'm talking about Mike Purcell.
Malik Reed.
Malik Reed.
Oh,
that's who I was thinking of.
Okay.
Malik Reed. Sorry, I always go to Marcus Walker on that side.
That's all right.
Yeah, Malik Reed had a great year.
He had an okay year. He had almost an identical season to Shaq Barrett's first year.
Yeah.
And I think that's what his ceiling is a Shaq Barrett.
Well, I think everyone, because of how outstanding he was in the preseason, expected more from him, and he didn't get his time to shine until very late in the season when Chubb was down and everyone was starting to get hurt. So
it was his run defense.
Yeah, but I think it was just because he had such an outstanding preseason. Everyone had such high expectations for him, and then they just
Yeah,
You
well, I
didn't
mean,
get
when
the
you're
right chance.
Yeah, you're going up against the second, third teamers in the preseason. You're going to look a lot better.
Yeah.
And then once he started getting the starting nods, and he did really well the first couple of weeks before they ended up going out and getting Jeremiah Tachu and all of them. So he definitely has potential. And like I said, I think his ceiling is a Shaq Barrett. He could, for a good to possibly great pass rusher, maybe a Joey Porter type, somebody of that ilk, that undrafted guy that just he can't quit because he just got that chip on his shoulder and he just wants to eat all day.
Yeah, because I mean there was so many injuries on this defense, but
riddled.
You found some players that are going to stay and they're going to be
Alexander
improved.
Johnson, he's going to be great from years to come. I'm going to say that because after the season he's chasing the ball down, he's finding where the ball is, he's hitting hard. And he had his first interception in his first ever start against the Chargers.
So real quick, before we got to go here, do y'all believe that this is going to affect Drew Lock negatively?
I think he's going to take more chances. He's going to take chances, but I think this will fit Drew Lock a little bit more for having. This is going to be his fifth coordinator since college.
Yeah, something.
So
crazy.
I expect
he's got a new coordinator every year.
So I expect some mistakes, but I do see him improving. I mean, you look at Daniel Jones; he looks like not a bad pick at all from New York.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't do well, but
but everybody universally panned that Dave Gettleman was the worst GM in the world, and Pat Shurmur made him look legit. So yeah, most definitely, I love that. And everywhere he's went, like we've talked about Case Keenum, talked about the Nick Foles ridiculous year. We had 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That was Pat Shurmur, guys. Yeah. So I mean, he's got definite offensive chops. I think he's maybe like an offensive Wade Phillips, somebody that's a really, really good offensive coordinator, but just can't quite hack it as a head coach. There's just something about getting that whole team
I see where
that just goes left. Yeah.
Wade Phillips, never forget.
No, so yeah, expect chances, but expect a way more aggressive, high scoring Broncos.
I agree with you on that too.
Yeah, the good thing about this hire is that it's a very similar offense to what Scangarello has. It's just the major difference is what I was talking about with the spacing. He's been in this league. Every one of our major coaches, from head coach, OC, DC, offensive line coach, defensive line coach, and linebackers are all 60 or older.
Yeah.
Every single one of those guys they can order off the senior menu at Denny's. So I think, you know what, that actually sounds good. I think I'm going to go get me some unlimited pancakes. It's been wonderful, guys. Thank y'all for joining us again. This is Dan, Zach, Dylan, and Theo. This is the Blitz on GoMileHigh.com, part of the Be On Air Network. We love y'all. We out.